Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Rainer and today I'm going to walk through all of the weapon and armor enchantments in MOD16. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more informational videos about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. So, we already covered all of the insignias, enchantments, runestones. Is that it? Yeah, insignias, runestones, enchantments. Yeah, that's it. Today we're going to walk through the last slottables that we have, and that's the weapon and armor enchantments. And before we go through all of them one by one, I want to show something for all of the people who are panicking, selling their current weapon enchantments, their current armor enchantments, because they think something else is going to be best in slot and they have to be quick because the market will explode, etc, etc. I already told them, don't, take it easy, because nothing is set in stone yet, and now we have an additional reason to not freak out. We already knew from my previous videos that there is a trader here which trades your keys for reward tokens. This is old. Eldritch for bondings, Tranquil for an enchantment choice pack, Insignias at least the leeching and vigor for choice packs, and enchantments for other enchantments, single stat to single stat, dual stat to dual stat, and tri-stat to tri-stat. But since last patch we also have armor enchantments and weapon enchantments in here. If you trade them in, you can also go to the exchange claim and you can get weapon and armor enchantment choice packs of the same rank as the ones that you traded in. If you do that, you get a new pack here, choice pack of the rank that you had, and in there you can pick whatever enchantment you want. All of them are in here, all of them. There's no exception, like with the enchantment pack, nothing. I think there were a couple missing there, or the runes. I think the runestones a couple were no, the insignias a couple were missing. The enchantments and runestones also, all of them were there. Well, for the runestones there wasn't an exchange actually, but for weapon and armor enchantments, everything is here. Also, nice to mention. Let's pick a prominence here, for example. Whatever you pick is unbound. So you can always trade this in again and get a new one. Armor enchantment, same thing, unbound. So that there's no need to be afraid that you pick something and it's not okay. You can try stuff out and go back to something else. I'm not sure that this is going to stay here forever. It might be that the devs will remove this at some point or introduce new enchantments that are not in the pack, something like that. But I can imagine that this is at some point gone. What does this mean? Basically that all enchantments, all the weapon enchantments are the same value now, and all the armor enchantments are also the same value. It doesn't matter which one you have, you can get one of another type from the same rank. So they're all the same price now. So yeah, that is the introduction. So there's an exchange, don't freak out. Let's go to the enchantments. The first row here is all the weapon enchantments. Second row, all of the armor enchantments. As you can see, we have one less armor enchantment. Weapon enchantments, we have 13, armor 12. First one is the weapon enchantments, prominence, rank 14. Encounter powers, daily powers, and the will powers do 5% more bonus damage as radiant damage. Actually, all enchantments, weapon enchantments deal add 5% bonus damage to at will, encounter, and daily powers, except one, and that's the plague fire enchantment, which only adds 2% bonus damage as fire damage. Well, the type is always different, of course, but all others increase your powers by 5%. Second part generates a shield equal to 49% weapon damage. This effect may stack up to 20 times and lasts 10 seconds. When this effect reaches 20 stacks, it converts into Prominence. While Prominent, deal 30% weapon damage as radiant damage to enemies within 40 feet. Every 3 seconds for 12 seconds. During this time, you may not gain additional shield effects. So yeah, this is quite similar to what it was before, I think. It's just a little bit less damage in here. But yeah, it's not that bad of an enchantment. Next up is the Phone Enchantment. Also at max rank. Everything is at max rank here. Part except for the 5%. Target enemy takes 98% weapon damage as poison damage after 4 seconds. Target enemy movement speed is reduced by 7%. This effect stacks up to 3 times and lasts for 4 seconds. Not that fantastic, very basic enchantment. Bronzewood Enchantment has the 5%, and then the next part, targets struck by your encounter powers become marked for 10 seconds. Marked targets will take 10% more damage from you and your allies. 10% more damage from you or your allies for 10 seconds whenever you use an encounter power. And marked targets also receive minus 3000 deflection. The target can only have a mark applied once every 20 seconds. Well, this is a very good enchantment for a weapon enchantment. 10% extra damage trumps the other two easily, I would say. Next up, Dread. Target enemy is dealt 25% weapon damage as necrotic damage every second for 4 seconds and reduce target defense by 3000. Also relatively simple, not that great. Fate Touched. Your daily powers decrease target damage dealt by 20% and inflict minus 3000 deflection rating. Debuffing is... Well, the great thing about this one is that this also increases damage for your allies. So marked targets will take 10% more damage from you or your allies. I don't know if this stacks, but if this stacks, it's gonna be everyone's going to run Bronzewood. If it doesn't stack, then this is also a great enchantment for one of your supports, maybe the tank or the healer can run this, because 20% less damage is quite a lot. So this Fate Touch enchantment actually still is quite good. It is on daily powers, so you need a class that can cast daily powers relatively quick. So maybe one of the secondary DPS rangers who have daily powers that not take all of your AP can run Fate Touched, for example, to keep this buff up, or debuff actually. Next up, the Flaming Enchantment, rank 14. You burn your foe for 6.3% weapon damage as fire damage every 1 second. Okay, for 3 seconds. Burning foes receive minus 1000 critical resistance. These effects stack up to 3 times. Not that fantastic. If the foe is affected by 3 stacks, your at will encounter on daily powers cause the target to explode, dealing 185% weapon damage as fire damage to nearby foes. This effect may occur no more than once every 20 seconds. So the secondary part, so the bottom part, sounds maybe okay for clearing larger groups of mobs. It does do quite a bit of damage there. Next up, Frost Enchantment. You apply a 30% slow and 15% recharge speed reduction to your target for 7.5 seconds. This effect may occur no more than once every 7.5 seconds per target. 7.5 per target. Okay, that's interesting. It lasts 7.5 seconds and it may not occur more than once every 7.5 seconds per target. Okay, so this is per target. So you can actually have every enemy affected by this debuff at the same time. And it sounds like this effect, for example, is based on a cooldown within the enchantment. So this is a cooldown on an enemy, a target, and this is a cooldown on the enchantment. And I think all of them have been cooldowns on the enchantments. But other than that, it's just the slow and the recharge speed reduction. This might be okay for PvP, I'm not sure. Recharge speed and slow is pretty decent typically, but it doesn't do any extra damage except for the standard 5%. Then we have the Holy Avenger. You have a 10% chance on each swing to improve your allies' damage resistance by 15% while healing them for 50% of your weapon damage each second for 10 seconds. This effect can only activate every 15 seconds. So here, again, this might be a nice enchantment for another DPS to increase damage resistance of the team, because it buffs all allies and also heals them. So actually the Holy Avenger, the Fate Touched, and the Bronzewood, all three are pretty okay. Life Drinker, increase your lifesteal chance by 5%. When activating your at will encounter and daily powers, you have a 5% chance to double this enchantment's lifesteal chance for 10 seconds. This cannot happen more than every 20 seconds. So again, a cooldown on the enchantment. This might be okay for soloing, because you need to heal a bit typically when soloing, especially if you have some enemies that take a little bit longer to kill and your regen cannot jump in. But yeah, Life Drinker might be okay for soloing, where the other three that I mentioned, this one, and this one, are for multiplayer content. Lightning Enchantment, your at will encounter, that's the normal part. When you strike a foe, you have 50% chance of arcing a bolt of lightning off them to a nearby foe. So a very high chance, dealing 50% of weapon damage. This can chain up to 3 times. So actually, we talked about the flaming. To nearby foes. So this is 185 weapon damage. Weapon damage, and this one is 50% of weapon damage, but this procs a lot more often. Let me see this one. How do you get a stack? Yeah, you always get a stack here. But it doesn't happen very often, once every 20 seconds, and this is continuously. So I guess the flaming for mass groups isn't that great. It's better to take the lightning for clearing groups. So Life Drinker is more for survivability. Sounds pretty okay for MOD16, and lightning is probably a very good enchantment for soloing as well, because you can clear larger groups more easily. And clearing groups is becoming more of a challenge now. Then we have the Plague Fire enchantment. You burn your foe. We didn't have. You burn your foe for 6.3% weapon damage as fire damage. That's the same as here, right? That's why I wasn't confused. Every 1 second for 3 seconds. Burning foes receive minus 1000 critical resistance. This effect stacks up to 3 times. Yeah, that part is exactly the same as the flaming. Interesting. If the foe is affected by 3 stacks, your will encounter and daily powers cause the target to explode, dealing 378% weapon damage as poison damage to nearby foes. This effect may occur no more than 20 seconds. Why in the hell would you take this one, which is 185% weapon damage, over this one, which is 378%? There's been some balancing issue here. So it's exactly the same as, except for the percentage. So yeah, don't take the flaming. If anything, take plague fire. Unless of course they change this stuff, which is pretty likely still. Next up, the Terra enchantment. Whenever activating your daily power, your foe receives minus 3000 awareness for 10 seconds. Your daily powers also have a 12% chance to root the target for 3 seconds. This effect may occur no more than once every 20 seconds. Not that fantastic. Vorpal enchantment, the 5% damage, and their critical severity is increased. The critical severity of at will, encounter, and daily powers is increased by 50%. Whenever you... wait, there's no dot there. So I think this is increasing critical severity of at wills, encounters, and daily powers by 50%. And on top of that, whenever you activate a daily power, increase your critical strike by 3000. So that's the last part isn't that fantastic, but you're actually increasing your critical severity for all attacks by 50%, which is also very good. So group content, I would say these three are definitely the best. For solo content, I would be thinking about either Life Drinker, Lightning, and Vorpal, so a multi-group for Bronzewood, Fate Touched, or Holy Avenger. These are very good buffing and debuffing tools. Next up, we're going to the armor enchantments. We have Bark Shield, which is exactly the same as it was. So I'm not gonna go too much over that. Blood Theft, you have a 10% chance upon dealing damage to heal yourself for 50% of the damage dealt. Sounds pretty nice if you need a little bit more lifesteal and you don't want to go for the Life Drinker. Briar Twine, you reflect 5% of the damage dealt to you back to your attacker and have a 9% chance when struck to root your attacker for 2 seconds. Might be okay for tanks, depending on how much damage the enemies are doing, but you preferably take less damage. Eclipse increases deflect rating by 3000, and whenever your stamina drops below 20%, your stamina is refilled and no longer depletes for 3 seconds. This effect may occur once every 60 seconds. Okay, that's a pretty long cooldown. Next up, the Elven Battle enchantment. You are 85% more resistant to slow, immobilizes, disables, and stuns. The duration is reduced. Your stamina regen is increased by 40%. So it's kind of what it was before. I think it's exactly what it was before, just a higher percentage again. Fireburst. When you receive damage, release a fireball at your attacker. So I heard that a lot of control wizards are complaining that they don't have a fireball. Here you go. You have a fireball. Release a fireball at your attacker and up to 5 other foes within 15 feet for 246% weapon damage is fire damage. This effect can only occur once every 15 seconds. When you're critically struck, generate a flame shield. Increase resistances. When you receive damage while your flame shield is active, release a secondary fireball at your attacker that explodes, damaging 6 foes within 20 feet for 185 weapon damage. So this rank 14 Fireburst enchantment actually does quite a bit of damage. For some reason it's purple. It is epic, it's not legendary. Something went wrong here with the quality. But yeah, this one is, if you want to go full glass cannon damage dealer, Fireburst might be something you can look into. Next up, Frostburn. On receiving damage, you have a 10.5% chance to apply a 30% slow and minus 3000 critical strike to the target. This effect lasts 5 seconds and can only occur once every 5 seconds. Okay. Yeah, slow is not that great. No. When you receive damage, you have a 10% chance to deal 185% weapon damage as physical damage to the attacker. And root them for 3 seconds. 1 second on players. This effect can only occur once every 5 seconds. I think this one is quite a bit better. Yeah, this is AoE and more weapon damage, so why would you go for Lone Weave? Anyway. Next up, Negation, a very popular one in the past. Once per second when receiving damage, each hit stacks a 0.04%. And this is something typical that I've seen in the past in pre-beta. It's going to be up to 4%. This is just a bug at the moment. But it stacks a 4% increase to your damage resistance for 3 seconds. This effect can stack to a maximum of 10 seconds and refreshes its duration with each new stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks of damage resistance, after a 3-second delay, all stacks of damage resistance are consumed and you are healed for 5% of your maximum health. So this is the armor enchantment for survivability. You will be very tanky with this and even heal quite often. It doesn't have a cooldown, so if you get hit for many times and many small times, which tanks typically get, then you could be quite okay with this enchantment. Shadowclad enchantment, when receiving damage, each hit adds 18% to your deflection rating and a 4% increase to your damage resistance for 8 seconds. This effect can stack a maximum of 8 times, so a maximum of quite a lot of deflection. That's like 144% added deflection and a 32% added damage resistance maximum. And expires once you successfully deflect. Well, that will be at stack number 5 probably. When you successfully deflect an attack with 8 stacks of Shadowclad, never gonna happen, your armor will daze nearby foes for 2 seconds and place you in stealth for 4 seconds. This effect can not happen more than once every 30 seconds. So it is a bit weird. Maybe this has to do with accuracy. If your opponent has a high accuracy, it will be removed from the percentage, I guess. But yeah, a percentage bonus on deflection is quite odd. It should be a flat bonus actually. Next up, Soulforged. It's pretty much what it was before, so I'm not even going to read it. You can be resurrected with this and get a little bit of health back and do a tiny bit of damage. Last, Armor Enchantment, Thunder Hat Enchantment. When a foe hits you, you have a 10% chance to deal 369% of weapon damage as lightning damage to that foe, as well as any other foes within 20 feet of you. This effect cannot happen more than once every 10 seconds. So this is also a nice AoE clearer. But I think the Fire Burst is definitely best for clearing groups. Negation is good for tanking. Prior Twine might be okay depending on some other values. Blood Theft might be good for DPS solo. So yeah, there are quite some choices. I did not make an overview of these ones, because it's all text. It's not like they have certain stats that can be mixed and put nicely in overview. If you comment that you really want that overview, I could make it. I could type in all this stuff, but I haven't done it yet. So that was all of the enchantments. If you have any remarks on this video or any suggestions on what to investigate next, feel free to leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.